Let's now look in more details at how a security group works. As we've seen previously, security groups act like a firewall. They allow us to manage access to the ports of our instances. Those security groups define which IP addresses are allowed to connect to our instances, either in IPv4 or in IPv6. It allows us to manage the incoming and outgoing traffic. This information is presented in a table highlighting the type, the protocol, the port ranges, and a source and description. Here is a diagram of how the security group works. We can see the distinction between incoming and outgoing traffic to our AC2 instance. Let's take the example of our personal computer. Its IP address is authorized to communicate with our instance on the port 22. When we try to connect from a computer authorized by the security group 1 using SSH, we manage to connect to our AC2 instance. However, if we try to connect to the same instance, but this time with a different computer, not authorized, to connect to our instance, thanks to the security group, our AC2 will never receive the requests from this computer since they are filtered. Our AC2 instance can freely communicate with the outside world because all the outgoing traffic is allowed. It is important to know that security groups are not linked to a single instance. We can assign a security group to several instances, several resources. A security group applies to a region. We have already seen the notion of regionality of some services, and while the security groups can also only apply to a single region or to a VPC. Security groups exist independently of AC2. This means that when traffic is blocked by our security group, our instance is not informed at any time. It is easier to maintain and manage when having a separate group for the SSH, in which can be added other groups and users in order to have a more organized management of connections to your resources. Let's say you have a problem connecting to your AC2, and at no point you are able to connect to your machine. This is most likely due to a problem related to a security group, ports that may not be open or settings that do not provide sufficient security. If you're able to connect to the machine, but however the response does not correspond to its optimum performance, what's happening is that you're getting through the security group to contact your AC2, but you're facing a problem that is related to your application or the machine settings. By default, all incoming traffic is blocked and all outgoing traffic is allowed. We will therefore see a case where it is possible to include a security group in another security group. This can be interesting since it allows users to avoid redundancy. You can create several security accounts. Let's say that our AC2 instance has a first security group that authorizes incoming traffic for group 1 and 2. You also have another machine, an AC2 instance, that is linked to the group 2. When connecting to our left instance, it will work since the group 2 is authorized by the first security group. If we take a second instance, which this time is linked to the first group, it will also be able to connect to our AC2 instance. Now, if we take an instance that is linked to the group 3, which is not authorized by our security group, it will obviously not be able to connect. That's it for our course on security groups.